Good morning, beloved Earthbound fam. I woke up to quite an amazing spirit message transmission this morning that I wanted to share with you. Take it if it resonates. If it doesn't, I get it. Reel it in. If it resonates with you, if it doesn't, please release it and send it on its way to somebody who may enjoy it. And then after I got done receiving this message, the first thing that I did was got up and looked at the star charts today. So after the transmission is over, I wrote a little um, bit about what's going on up there, or at least as I understand and interpret what's going on up there. So please, if you're interested in hearing that, stick around. And if you're not, sorry, excuse me, cat fluff all in my face all of a sudden. If you're interested in sticking around to hearing what my interpretation of that is, great. And if not, again, no problem. But I'm just going to start this, and here we go. Let me read you this transmission first. Begin transmission. On July 4th, 2026, Mars and Uranus are conjunct at the 3rd degree of Gemini. Mars is the pure force of creation in his positive aspects and the pure force of eruption in his negative aspects. Uranus is the pure force of freedom for all and excuse me. Uranus is the pure force of freedom for all in his positive aspects and the pure force of blowing away all obstacles that get in the way of this freedom. The two of them coming together in the first most potent degrees of Gemini will result in a force of liberation that has not been known before. Some will experience this liberation as detriment or extreme loss of people, places, or things, and some will experience this liberation as being unburdened and released from ties that bound them to things that were no longer serving them. Either way, liberty will be the result. The path to this liberty will be determined by the perception adopted. If an inner standing can be reconciled and accepted that the forces of the universe, that means our Mother, Father, God, our guides and our guardians, our angels, ancestors, ancients, and ascendants. So let me go back for that. If an inner standing can be reconciled and accepted that the forces of the universe are working for the highest and greatest good in whatever circumstances are being experienced to bring a betterment not yet experienced, this liberation will be a path of pleasure to a paradise unknown to exist. This liberation will be a path of pleasure to a paradise unknown to exist as of yet. If it is perceived that the forces of the universe are working against or hindering this betterment in the making, an energetic barrier will be erected, blocking the desired achievements, which will result in feelings of being misunderstood, feelings of lack, feelings of insecurity, and feelings of hopelessness. The choice as to which path to take is completely up to how it is decided to accept what is to come. To yourselves, becoming a best friend or a worst enemy is a choice of free will, but both of these things cannot expand simultaneously. Love and hate can no longer exist in the same spaces. The one that is fed by the individual's energy is the one that will endure. This is why it is imperative to be in tune with the basis of the self's feelings, thoughts, and behaviors at this time, instead of adopting or latching on to the feelings, thoughts, or behaviors of others. Latching onto others' feelings, thoughts, and behaviors destroys authenticity and murders the truth of individuality. Individuality and identity are not the same thing. Let me take a drink of coffee before I go into this next part. Okay, it's very early. Let me read that last sentence again and move on. Individuality and identity are not the same thing. You are losing yourself by adopting the emotions and mentalities of others. The earth plane pandemic of constant identification of and with others has slowly and craftily stolen the individuality of the self. Each human ventured to earth plane to have an individual experience of being a human form, embodying the earthbound senses while operating within a collective of human identity. This does not mean that all are meant to be the same. Rather, it means that all are, in the truth of the angelic light, already the same. But the experiences as human earthbound forms are not the same, as they are each unique to the spark of the divine's wishes in this earthbound experiment that each soul agreed to live out during their own individual journey. I know it's pretty deep. The guides are deep. The guides are deep. Okay, let's move on. The great separation of Earth and Gaia has arrived. It was hoped that there would be no need for separation, that the soul and the spirit of the two would merge. There is still hope that as July 30th approaches, this point will be a pivotal point for all of humanity. But the collective energetic could instead create a point where Earth and Gaia are forced to pivot away from each other, driving the manifestation of the great separation into the earthbound experience. Heaven on earth is just a perception away, but so is hell on earth. The experience each can have is within individual control, not an outside force. When outside forces are empowered, authenticity is sold. When standing strong in the abilities to decipher reality through the individuality and the self, individuality and the self are then strengthened, as well as the strength of the collective. When this kind of sovereign strength is collectively cultivated, there is no need or want for any outside rulings, regulations, or laws. Instead, it is a collective, heart-driven energy that guides all to do better and be better each and every day. This is completely and totally achievable and each can be a part of this evolutionary transcendental ascension of all souls, which are sources of unconditional love. In transmission. So I'm going to move on to what I saw in the charts as I was looking at them today and up until July 4th, because there's a lot, but I'm just going to get into this little part of it. So I'm just going to read you what I came up with as I was kind of deciphering this, because I've been up for a few hours and there's a lot. So here we go. Let me just read you an interpretation of the astrology, my interpretation of the astrology. Again, reel it in or release it freely if it doesn't resonate with you, okay? Because this is some deep, deep waters. We are in Cancer after all. Okay. So today, King Jupe is in the 0 degree between the houses of Cancer and Leo at this time. He is sitting smack dab in the middle of the strongest feminine force house of Cancer, ruled by Mama Moon, and the strongest masculine force house of Leo, ruled by Father Sun. King Jupe, for all intents and purposes, is the great benevolent expander of all that he touches. As he sits in this 0 degree of these houses, he is reading the energetics we, as a human collective, are pushing out into the aether of our universe. Whichever energy is the most intense as we enter into the next few days will be the one that is expanded upon during Jupe's journey through the house of Leo, which will be about a year's time. Although this will be a collective experience for us earthbounders, it will also determine the direction of our individual paths as we move toward July 30th, when the North Node and the South Node enter into their new houses. Get to where I'm going, sorry. North Node will enter into the house of Aquarius. South Node will enter into the house of Leo. North Node is the direction in which we should be going. South Node is the direction in which we should be moving away from. Aquarius is the elder air sign and the house of freedom, revolution, innovation, and acquiescence through fiercely feminine energy. Leo is the adult fire sign and the house of love, devotion, confidence, self virtue, integrity, and egoic reconciliation through fiercely masculine energy. The Aquarian and the Leoian poles and their poles are extreme deflectional oppositions. Aquarius is the strongest air sign. Leo is the most ferocious fire sign. When you add strong airflow to ferocious fire, you get a turbocharged inferno that cannot be controlled. Mars, who is a fire sign, and Uranus, who is an air sign, are in conjunction in the house of Gemini right now, and they will provide the fuel for the nodal paths that are about to unfold. This is an unprecedented amount of air and fire energy colliding above, and the results will be felt down here below. But our free will is the deciding factor as to how this collision of fire and air will develop. Each of us has a choice as to what we want to build within the human experience as these paths become clearer. Individualism, while holding space for community and collectivism, will bring strength through unity and collaboration. And let me just pause for a minute, because I understand if this isn't something that is resonating with you. I totally get that. This is literally a message for people who do resonate with this type of train of thought, I guess, right now in the world. And if that isn't you, I totally understand. Please leave this message behind. But if this is you, I hope that you'll stick around and listen to the rest of what this message has to say. And even if this isn't something that you completely get at this particular point in time, you may find a message for you in here that can help you understand what it is that I'm talking about. This is truly for those who have the hearts to feel, the minds to see, and the souls who know. And that could be you. You might just have to find a quick little bit of remembrance in some of these words. But again, if this isn't for you, by all means, let it go. So I'm going to start this paragraph over again with that being said. Each of us has a choice as to what we want to build within the human experience as these paths become clearer. Individualism, while holding space for community and collectivism, will bring strength through unity and collaboration. Those who choose to strengthen their identity will find themselves stripped of a mask they forgot they were wearing and discover that they do not yet know the self that lives within the human shell. This can be very dislodging and can lead to self-destructive behaviors that are toxic to anyone and everything around them. It can result in the deepest sense of victimization that has been instilled through their own doings, but projected out in a self-deception that makes it seem like the whole world is against them, which can further result in lashing out through violence, through abusive actions or words, and through an annihilation of soul, the source of unconditional love. However, there is a portal that opens on July 2nd, and if you are watching this on Substack, I'm going to have all of this typed out, and I will put in what the chart looks like on July 2nd. So let me start that again. You'll see exactly what I mean when I say that portal, because there is a X marks the spot right there in front of your face. So anyway, like I said, if you're not watching this on Substack, you can go ahead and click over onto my Substack and you can read it there and you can see this chart. So with that being said, however, there is a portal that opens on July 2nd, and each of us can walk through it into a whole new world of possibilities rather than dwelling in discrepancies. To walk through this portal, it will take self-realization, acceptance of self-made circumstances, and the ability to forgive the self and others with full grace and authentic heartfeltness. I'm not sure that that's a word, but that's what I mean, heartfeltness. Father, Son, and Cancer offers us the chance to burn away all of the gunk and the junk we've accumulated through trying to please others, and instead, focusing our attention on caring for ourselves and those we love the most. This is how we enrich our souls, our sources of unconditional love, and create a better world without lack, without competition, without segregation, and without condemnation. But each of us must do the individual work to accomplish the collective goal. And the truth is, some are just not ready to give up the lack, competition, segregation, and condemnation. They are, after all, addictive behaviors, and they are also the very devils that each of us blames for perceived misfortunes of ourselves or of others. There is no more hand-holding from the universal energetics here. We have been given the gift of free will to determine our paths to our destinies, and those paths are to be walked in heartfelt confidence and consolidation of the purified body, mind, and soul. If this is understood, then our paths will gather together in the unification of Gaia's children as we come together through the systematic extinction of what was to gather our hearts, minds, and souls in building a better world. I know that's a deep one. I know it's a deep one, y'all. I know it's a deep one. So I hope you'll take the time to kind of re-listen to it, especially the spirit message, and try to take it all in, just see what you feel when you listen to these words. It's an interesting time that we're coming into, a time we have never ever experienced before as a human collective on Earth since humans were developed, I guess is the best way to describe that. So, as always, I wish you the best in all that you do, friends, and I hope that as you find your path into the age of Aquarius over the next 30 days, you will give yourself the gift of living the life that you love, loving the gods and the people that you trust, and not taking this outside world all too seriously, because your future is written by the individual steps you take to be better to yourself, which in turn becomes a betterment to those around you and to our beautiful Mama Gaia. All that is required is taking the steps to creating a better place in our universe with pure, authentic intention to do so. With that said, my beloved Earthbound fam, never, ever forget that you are stars, not standards. Now go shine and have yourself an incredibly joyful day. Blessed be.